Welcome to Wealth Made Simple with Shaz, where you'll learn how to master your money through business, property, and tax-saving strategies. Your host has collectively helped his clients make tens of millions of pounds in additional profits through these strategic approaches to business. Introducing Shaz Nawaz, an award-winning chartered accountant, property tax expert, entrepreneur, and property investor.
Commercial versus residential. Which one do you prefer, Kieran?
Honestly, I prefer commercial to residential, as you well know. But as we discussed on the way over here, in fact, we were discussing this. There are certain, when you buy a commercial property, and if you are intending to do a commercial conversion, sometimes, there are caveats, rules, regulations, requests put in that you leave a certain percentage or a certain size of the property as a commercial unit, either letting out commercial entities or putting, commercial entities in there.
I think you and I both like commercial to residential conversions, but sometimes somebody who, let's say, hasn't got the experience may find it pretty daunting to start something like that, because there's a lot of moving parts in terms of what you have to do to get from a commercial property to a residential property, as in using the same one to convert. So if we're looking at, I think, hardcore nose to nose, toes to toes, belly to belly, comparing those two, I prefer commercial.
See, I'm not entirely sure, and I'll tell you for why. Commercial units, if you have, commercial units are in generally per square foot cheaper than residential units. So the barrier to entry is lower. But there are more regulations, there's more understanding that you need to have in terms of, which shops can go in, what laws they have to apply, what, rules there are surrounding it, what regulations there are. All of that you can do through due diligence, and you should do through your due diligence.
When you're buying the property,
do that first. Don't do it last.
Yeah.
What were we just saying about mindset? Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah.
But, knowing, have that information at your fingertips, understand it, know it, get involved with it. And generally, commercial leases are leases, so they're a much longer term in terms of contractually than standard residential rental properties. So on that front, commercial could be considered a stronger option, but residential is vanilla, I'm going to say. It's safe, it's understood, it's easier to get your head around at a basic level. If you've never done anything before, I would go residential. If you're experienced and you want to test the waters with commercial and see if you like it, then by all means. But I think they both have their pros and they both have their cons. If I was gonna do it, I would get into residential. I would do residential first. I know you prefer commercial.
I do. I think, as you've alluded to, first of all, you've got leases.
Yep.
So you can have a tenant with a 20-year lease. Okay. They may have a break clause, so at some point before the 20 years, they have an opportunity to vacate. You have an opportunity to ask them to vacate. So it could be a two-way open break. It could be a one-way break, by the way. But you can have a long-term break with options. Section 24 doesn't affect you, so you can claim, if you have a loan on it, you can claim all the finance costs. With residential property in your own name, as you know, you can't claim all the finance costs if you're a high-rate taxpayer. So you've got that. Usually, and more so on smaller deals and smaller properties, you usually only have one tenant to deal with. So think about it. You buy a house. Let's talk about Peterborough, 200,000, 250,000. I know it varies, but let's say average. Okay. So with commercial property, the cost could be higher. So it could be 500, 750. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But still, you could have one tenant. Yeah. Whereas if you're spending or investing 500 or 750, it could be two properties, it could be three properties. You need the numbers. So you got three lots of people to deal with.
Yeah.
So I like it from that particular point of view. You can claim capital allowances, which basically allows you to write off some of your profit for tax purposes, which works exceptionally well. If you've got a full repairing and insuring lease, the tenant's responsible for the expenditure. And usually all the internal expenditure as well. So if the boiler breaks down, they've got to get it fixed. Okay. If the sink's blocked, they've got to get it fixed. Okay. If the door handle falls off, it's their responsibility. If the carpet needs changing or the tiles need replacing, their responsibility.
And it's got to be returned to you in the same state it was given to them.
Absolutely. So you just give it all away. You just get it insured and then sit in pretend, this is what the insurance cost me. And you pay or reimburse me for this, which I've paid. So that gets you covered there. Usually the externals aren't covered usually, but then you can have some kind of a fund or get them to contribute towards that too, depending on your lease. So I think that works exceptionally well. And if you own the commercial property for yourself, I know we're talking about renting here, in your business, then you claim entrepreneur's relief, which is business asset disposal relief.
Yeah.
So you'd only pay 10% on the disposal as long as you didn't charge any rent to your business.
And as long as you don't go into the same sector for the next 2 years?
that is if you're doing a members voluntary liquidation, which will come to in a second.
Okay.
You got rollover relief as well, because you've sold your business, you can roll over that gain into another business with the property. And you've got BPR, so if you pass away, and the value of your assets less than 50% of the business, which is usually for most people tends to be the case, especially if they own the property for long enough and it's owned outright cash. This is in a trading business, by the way.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely.
And then when that passes over to your loved ones, no inheritance tax. And as you've said, if you've sold your business and then you've sold your property with it, or subsequently within 3 years, and all the money's stuck in a property in a company, property company, or a trading company, you can do a members voluntary liquidation and claim business asset disposal relief. So that's all the reasons why I love commercial property, and I think it works extremely well, and the returns are really good as well. You can get 10-15% yield if you're really sharp and smart about it. The return on capital employed is even higher. So I'm a big fan of commercial property, and that's why commercial to residential works better for me. But if that wasn't my main thing, I think I'd be investing more in commercial property, personally.
Yeah, I can see that.
But the beauty about this conversation, of course, is to demonstrate that we're all different. So
there are so many options.
So many of the other strategies we've talked about, which different people like different strategies, and that's absolutely fine.
Thanks for listening to Wealth Made Simple. You can follow and contact Shaz on the Facebook pages Entrust Property Tax and The Profits Wizard. You can also find Shaz on LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. Alternatively, email him at shaz@aa-accountants.co.uk. Build your wealth by mastering money.